Hey guys, today I'm speaking with Jared Robin, a marketing and sales professional with a different point of view on branding, marketing, creating brands, community, building businesses. So you really should hang out and see and hear and listen and watch to what he has to say. The funny thing is that we were starting talking, and all of a sudden we found out that both of us were in fashion, creative, the design, the marketing, the business side of fashion. So we immediately started talking about all sorts of fashion stuff from all over the world. And then we started talking about streetwear and Fairfax and all of that, which was a really great segue to talk about big brands and how to get to be a big brand. So hit the subscribe button and let's rock and roll. Hey Jared, what's up?
Hey, how are you today?
Jared, tell us a little bit about yourself and about Rev Genius, which is your company.
So I've been in the sales world for 15 years, but I've always been entrepreneurial. And when I say entrepreneurial, like actually trying stuff on the side, right? A lot of people are entrepreneurial and a lot of job applications say it. Uh, but my first business plan I wrote was senior in high school. We had an auto detailing business.
Nice.
Never really got off the ground as tons of entrepreneurial ventures it happens with, but it was a great learning experience. And then went into technology 7 years ago, halfway through my career. Was in logistics first, working for FedEx, Fortune 100, short hair, not really the same facial hair I have now, same face behind it, but great learning experience going into early stage tech after, and simultaneously launching side projects. One in particular was a digital fashion magazine. We gained a little bit of traction, never really were able to monetize it to become a full-time thing, but a learning experience nonetheless. And over the last 7 years in tech, mostly SaaS, a little bit of blockchain, and marketplaces along the way, whether it was a blockchain marketplace in art or uh, a fashion marketplace, and fashion marketplace from a fashion production standpoint, connecting all the people that put together fashion advertorials and campaigns via platform, and then also marketing agency work. So been all around, have an
I used to
eclectic
be in fashion
background.
as well. So maybe
What else?
we met each other, I don't know, maybe in bread and butter back in the Berlin days.
Supreme was the original, man. Supreme hasn't spent $1 on advertising, and this is a
Not
great
even one
segue to
dollar.
what we're
It's
talking.
great that we're talking
This is a great
about.
segue that we're talking about today, because knowing where I get my inspiration from helps you understand why Rev Genius is like moving faster than other communities. Because I get the cliche. Is it cliche? It's not cliche because they created this. Like if they were the next person, it would be cliche.
They were the
But
OGs. I remember the first days,
I got
years ago
airwalks.
when it was just like four skaters.
You go to these urban type shops, and it would be culture. Like this would dictate the culture, and they were always a step ahead.
Back in the days before there was social media and everything happened in the street. You had to be real,
Yep.
If you didn't skate with these guys, you wouldn't know them, you wouldn't understand, you wouldn't listen to that music, you wouldn't go to that club. Now, 2021, if you starting a business or you
Yep.
start something and you say, okay, I want to grow it, how do you do it? Is the realness and the fakeness killed everything and you just need to show your boobs on social media?
Um, so there's a couple ways to do it, right? There's people that throw influencers at businesses to just blow up and do that, and you've had cases where that's worked and where that's been a flash in the pan. Okay, I personally believe, and I'm in the business of communities now, right? So I'm very closely aligned. You need to form relationships with as many people in your community as possible. Now you could layer in, you tweet out, you LinkedIn post, you Facebook, but you need to build one-to-one relationships. And what does this do? It helps you empathize. Okay. I want to use this word in every single podcast, every single whatever I'm in, because this word is the secret sauce. It's a secret sauce to making a sale. It's a secret sauce to marketing to somebody. If you could empathize with what challenges they're going through right now, that's top of mind, you could create something for that. And if you guys are friends and homies, they'll probably try what you create. And then you could recalibrate to make sure it's right for them. So you need to have those relationships. So I suspect the people that even throw influencers at things to really get it out there, at some level listen to their people. Now, I hear every day of people with like different like hacker like game plans to like build things out, grow it, and do that without the relationships, and you can make that work. A lot of people have. But I think to really get that cult classic, like deep Stussy or Supreme, both companies I believe haven't advertised. I could be wrong about Stussy, but I believe they're in that market as well. You have to build those relationships. You have to throw stuff on the people actually skateboarding. You need to know who the OG skaters were in New York.
Like in Obey,
It's
think about Obey
yeah,
first days. I always say that, just like you, I say that it's all about creating relationships. And I always say that the question you need to ask yourself is, do you want to make a sale? Do you want to make a buck like tomorrow? Or do you want to create a brand with a community and a tribe that's gonna last for tons of time? Those are two different things. If you just
yep.
want to make a buck, the whole relationship and empathy, it can be much smaller in size because your focus is on fast money. If you want to create the real deal that, and have legacy in a way, just like Supreme 30 years ago is not Supreme today. But the
It
guy
was
who
cooler.
started
It
it,
was cooler. It was cooler.
it's totally different. The evolution of it's just because the way they thought about it and the way they still think about it is the same thing.
Yep.
It's about that one guy in the street. So that's the difference, as I see it, between building a brand and making a quick buck.
So to build on this, it's not just building a brand, but it's harnessing the culture. Example, I go into High Snobiety, and what do they have with culture? Like, so there's little things intertwined. They have a whole section on Black Lives Matter that they've had pretty much all of COVID, maybe all of 2020, because it's that important to this world, that important to this country. Can we go even more? Can we go where we need to go? And I'm thinking about that. We have a mag portion of what we have of our community. Essentially, we're building a media company with the community as an integral part of that. The central part of that. But how can we connect with everybody? And not everybody in revenue, right? Like, but how could we not just connect with them to help them get a new job? Super important,
Yeah,
huge focus. Help them learn more, enablement, super important, massively important, huge focus. But also some of the other stuff, like in the last day, I've spoken to multiple members just purely on a helping them standpoint, and breaking it down and realizing that some of the challenges weren't just difficulty finding a job, because that's obvious, that surface level will help with that, but also the psychology and the emotion behind it, because you're going through a difficult period of COVID. One person in particular had other things on their plate with sick family members. And now I'm going into mental health, but this is a real thing.
definitely.
Like how can you empathize at a deeper level than let's just get you a job? Like, okay, Indeed gets you a job. Let's empower people and like really be empathetic to the reason behind the reason.
So, to your point, this whole idea of not looking at yourself and your issues and your product or what you're trying to convey and promote, changing it 180 degrees and look at them, look at the customers, look at your people, your tribe, and see what they need and think about them and their pain points and what they will want to read about, get information about. So
Have meetings about, yeah.
yeah, and I think that, you talk about more of the business world in a way, but at the end of the day, mainly in the world that we live in these days, pre-COVID, but for sure right now, middle of COVID and post-COVID, this whole empathy, to your point, is super important for growth. And at the end of the day, to get more revenues, right?
Yes, it is. I think, as I get older, the revenues is essential, right? Like, especially if you have bills to pay, everybody does. Employees to hire, making the economy a better place. But you have investors. Oh my gosh, forget about it. Like, you have to appease others. But I truly believe, and I'm playing around with this phrase. I don't even know if it makes sense, but commercial altruism. And essentially, you need to make money to support a family, to support yourself, to develop jobs, to really better everything. But how can you do it in an altruistic way? Because I'm trying to find, we're all trying to find our path, right? And be happy, but like be joyful and like be satisfied and do something that's that. And for me, it's helping others. Now, does that mean I want to be in a nonprofit? Maybe one day, but not today. But like, how can I still do that? So where I'm going with this is, at the core of what you do is, and for any listeners of this, what empathy really means, like to really follow the definition of empathy, not just throw it out there, but listen, comprehend, and feel it. Picture yourself there. And if you can't, imagine it, and connect like that. So a lot of people say, oh, I'm empathetic. Like, oh, people in your space typically solve one of three challenges. Like, and that's right. And you should know their challenges and all of that. But if you really connect with the person behind it, like, and 7 years ago when I first got into tech sales, and lots has changed. My colleague and I used to go deep to that level and really try to connect with people as people, and we were highly successful at it. Now, since there's been a lot of noise layered on top, and noise meaning tons more companies in the space, cold emails, technologies to make sure that they get even more cold emails, to follow up automated, cold calls, technologies to make sure they get even more cold calls, etc. So that's lost, etc. But yeah, so I hope that helps understand that. And then how do you scale empathy, right? Like, it's building a culture at your work that others could follow.
How do you mix tech automation with building a culture?
When you say that, can you dive in and unpack that a little bit? Like, are you talking about outreach? Like if you're outreaching to people and have like a 12 email sequence, how do you get empathetic with that, or more like?
Kinda. So I love robotics. I love AI. In my philosophy, life and business, you need to find the middle ground. You can't be all automated, but on the other hand, you can't just do everything yourself. In your line of work, do you find a way to use automation and bots to create culture, to create empathy?
I have the only answer that I know. And that answer is, you don't use the bots until you use yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the only answer I know. Anyone who received a LinkedIn message from me, a lot of you have, and thank you for putting up with it. That was me sending it. Okay. Was it a copy paste? Yeah, sure. Some of them, yes, but it was me sending every single one of them. For those who receive, Our weekly Rev Genius newsletter, that's me putting it together. That's me manually sending it. And that's why sometimes there are different times. When we started Rev Genius as 38 people or before on LinkedIn, when our view or our path was to create a centralized place for all sales and marketing events because it was so fragmented, Galen and myself, oftentimes Galen a bit more, we're researching every single event and putting them on that sheet for you all. Okay? That's what we've been doing.
The personal touch always wins.
Is that hard? Does it take a lot of time? Yes, it does. But we like to think that's why you also like us. And we like to think that's why you also, so many of you yesterday sent me personal birthday videos. Like, we're connecting and you all get that. So do we need automation? Do we need more people? Could it help? Yes, probably not as much as we thought 3 years ago, though. Right? 2 or 3 years ago, we thought like, yes, scale that. I think improving processes of humans doing it, maybe having more humans doing certain things, etc. But bots and everything are good for certain parts of the process and not for others. Let's look at a part of the process where a bot is great at. Okay, great. The automation that happens between signing up for an event and getting an automated email.
Yep.
Every day of the week. Let's use a bot for that. Okay? Every day of the week. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's use a bot for that.
The minor stuff, let a bot do it. And all of a sudden, a metaphor came to my mind. When you're cleaning your house, so back in the days, you cleaned everything in your house, you know, like everything. But now you can use iRobot to clean the floors, and you will clean the inside of the refrigerator because it really needs your personal touch. That's how you need to think about, you know, like automation in marketing, in sales, I would say. Now, for a last question, if you wouldn't be doing this, what would you do?
I was asked that question a while ago at a happy hour, actually. And it wasn't just me. The whole room was asked that. And I'll think back to over the past year what I was going to create outside of my regular job. You know, not just pull pie in the sky, like what I was actually going to do and create. And what that was going to be was create a movie for Netflix or for Hulu, and make it very much like Drive or something in that vein. Like be a director or producer for that, because I don't have the chops yet. But and I do believe sales is a very transferable skill to producing a film, right? Like getting stuff done, getting this person, get that person. Also, as I said, I put together fashion production shoots back in the day, etc. But I like the idea of creativity. I like the idea, you know, in anything. And I think entrepreneurship is one of the top creative things you could do in the business world. I think that many people won't disagree with that. And with movies in particular, today it feels like they're kind of like startups where you get a little bit of funding to make it happen. And I'm sure it was like this all the time, but because there's more content outlets, there's more exits to happen today. And an exit isn't just going to be in theaters as it once was. An exit isn't just going straight to video or DVD. Because of streaming, an exit could be much simpler, right? So the idea of, in a 2-year period, and I could be wrong with the numbers. I know the first thing, I don't know everything, but I started putting down a storyline and stuff for like a 10 or 12 video series.
Nice.
An exit or a failure happens much faster, right? Like I sense that in 2 years, you know, if you won or you lost. And also close to me, I had friends or contacts or acquaintances that put out movies and got that exit, like the Fire Festival documentary on Netflix. That was one of my clients. So I'm like watching these people succeed at it and realizing, that could be. So I that's super interesting to me, right? And then you get on to the next project and you're creative all day, every day.
I think it's very can really really suit you being a movie producer. You
Yeah, so
probably need to move here though.
so you're right. I probably need to live in both spots.
I know that we can just continue the whole day.
We will without the recording, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well,
I look forward to it.
yeah, I think we need a to be continued chapter 2. But thank you so much. It was
Yeah,
amazing, and I mean, really, I just want to circle back to that empathy and culture. I think that's the most important take people should take from this video.
cool.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for your time.
I'm ready to share with everybody. You're welcome. Thank you for your time. I look forward to chatting more.